Every American child at some point has been told that they could one day become president. And they can. But before they reach the Oval Office, they must take certain steps to get there. Step 1. Getting mentioned. It's hard to get elected if no one knows who you are. To spread the word about being a potential presidential candidate, there are a few things you can do. You can mention off the record that you are considering running for president. You can attach yourself to a major piece of legislation. Or you could be a governor of a big state like President Reagan and President Bush. Or you can have a famous last name like the Kennedy family. Which brings us to our second step, getting organized for the campaign. No one individual can run a campaign on their own. So first, you need to build up your team. You're going to need a press secretary to handle the press for you, lawyers to handle the contracts and legal obligations for you, advertisers or ad men to promote you, a travel manager to make sure you are where you need to be, pollsters to keep you up to date with the people, and of course, the people who will help you build up your voter base and help you raise money for your campaign. They're also your voters, so they mean a lot. With the exception of the volunteers, all of these people are going to need to get paid, which means you're going to need money. A lot of money. Step 3. Have a strategy. First, you should establish the tone of your campaign. Do you want it to be a negative campaign?
One is a serial hypocrite who lobbied for Freddie Mac before the housing crisis and for the individual mandate before Obamacare. Another, a counterfeit conservative who opposes right to work, massively increased spending, and funded Planned Parenthood. Finally, a flip-flopper who's been on all sides, supported TARP bailouts, and provided the blueprint for Obamacare. 3 men, 1 vision. More big government, more mandates, less freedom. 1 man stands apart, ready to deliver real change, voting against every tax increase and every unbalanced budget every time. A real plan to cut $1 trillion year 1 and to balance the budget in 3. Pro-life, pro-right to work, guided by faith and principle. Ron Paul, the one who will restore America now.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
Or do you want it to be a positive campaign?
My own experience was I got the chance to start my own business. I know what it's like to hire people and to wonder whether you're going to be able to make ends meet down the road.
Freedom and free enterprise are what create jobs, not government.
From those experiences, I went off to have the chance of running the Olympics in Salt Lake City in 2002. I came in and found that we had not only a scandal to deal with, but also a financial crisis to deal with. By the time the games were over, we had about $100 million that we put into an endowment there for the future of Olympic sport.
The next thing to establish is your theme. This is a quick slogan or word that is linked to your image. An effective campaign will make use of said theme extensively to help rally people in your favor. A campaign needs good timing. You don't want to fall behind in a presidential race because it's impossible to catch up. The campaign actually starts a year before with the invisible primary, where you start to get your name out along with your interests and maybe even fundraise a little bit. Front-loading for the actual campaign starts in January of that election year, followed by the race for the convention nominations that start in March. If your campaign does not go as planned, you will be dropping out in July.
I've always believed the mission is greater than the man. As I've contemplated the future of this campaign, I have come to the conclusion that there is no viable path forward for me in this 2012 campaign. Therefore, today, I am suspending my campaign and endorsing Newt Gingrich for President of the United States.
And lastly, we have the target. Who are you trying to reach? Who will your policies help? Who are your voters? That's the target. And you have to make that clear so that people feel that you are the right president for them.
I've got one mandate. I've got a mandate to help middle-class families and families that are working hard to try to get in the middle class. That's my mandate.
Step 4. the issues, and your platform. When running for president, there are two main types of issues: position issues and valence issues. Valence issues. Valence issues are the issues that all candidates face. All candidates want to have a better economy, and all candidates want lower crime rates. What you have to do as a candidate is win over the voters by proving why you are the best for the job with your policies and your ideas on how to fix these issues. Position issues, on the other hand, are issues like abortion and tax policy. Your campaign can only represent one side, and your followers will most likely share your opinions. Be consistent. Whatever your side or opinion on the issue may be as the candidate, it must remain that way. If it doesn't, the media and others will take advantage of your campaign and invalidate it by turning it into a joke.
Look, the right course for America's government, we're talking about the role of government, is not to become the economic player.
The last player that can step forward is government. And that's why we're going to have our government take action to stimulate the economy.
I think it's frankly not moral for my generation to keep spending massively more than we take in.
On the spending front, though, we're also going to have to spend more. I hate doing that as a conservative, but I think we ought to spend more.
Regulation is essential. You can't have a free market work if you don't have regulation. But I'm going to cut back on regulation. I'm going to put a cap on regulation.
Step 5. Using media in debates. As a candidate, you have to make your voice known. One way to do this is by participating in debates. The incumbent will have little drive to compete in voluntary debates because they are risky and bring more attention to challenger. That's you. Also, historically, voluntary debates for the incumbent have not gone very well.
When he was a candidate in 1976, President Carter invented a thing he called the misery index. He added the rate of unemployment and the rate of inflation, and it came at that time to 12.5 under President Ford. And he said that no man with that size misery index had a right to seek re-election to the presidency. Today, by his own decision, the misery index is in excess of 20%.
Another way to get noticed through the media is through TV visuals, which are basically news-oriented ads. They usually happen after natural disasters or big storms, where politicians have an opportunity to be seen helping out. Lastly, we have TV spots, which are short, dense commercials paid for by the campaign. They usually slander the opponent or promote an idea.
What does it say about a president's character when his campaign tries to use the tragedy of a woman's death for political gain? What does it say about a president's character when he had his campaign raise money for the ad, then stood by as his top aides were caught lying about it? Doesn't America deserve better than a president who will say or do anything to stay in power?
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
Funding a campaign. Campaign funding for a presidential candidate can come from private donors, political activist committees, interest groups, as well as federal funds. However, the 1974 campaign finance reform limited the individual donor amount to $1,000 and the political activist committees to $5,000 a candidate and $15,000 a political party. The loophole for parties is to have independent expenditures, which is a person, PAC, or organization who can spend as much as they desire as long as the candidate's campaign is not directly involved.
The first step of winning the primary is to use retail politics and get to know the people one-on-one.
The biggest pizza parlor owner I've ever seen, man. You have no idea. Look at this guy. Everybody look at these guys.
Next step is you have to get a personal following.
Thank you.
To win a state primary, you have to talk about the issues in that specific state.
There's new jobs to be created, new schools to build.
Michigan goes to President Obama.
You also have to make each age demographic feel as though they're equally cared about in your
It will be
campaign.
long. The climb will be steep. We may not get there in 1 year or even in one term, But America, I have never been more hopeful than I am tonight that we will get there. I promise you, we as a people will get there. America, we have come so far. We have seen so much.
Senator Barack Obama goes
there's so
over
much more
the
to
threshold, goes over 2,118 delegates. He will be the Democratic presidential nominee.
Step 8. What really matters in the general election? To win the general election, you have to focus on what matters, and that's the economy, your party, and the issues. That's what people really care about. People don't really care about your religion, the vice president, political reporting, or abortion. It's the main issues that matter. And as long as you focus on the main issues and show that you are the best candidate for the job, you can one day be the President of the United States.
Senator?
I am. I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully.
that I will execute
the office of President of the United States.
President of the United States faithfully.
And will, to the best of my ability,
Preserve,
protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.